Penny, I am very excited to hear about your woman in technology and science.
She is so cool.
Tell me about
So
it.
I decided to talk about Katie Bouman today. She has a PhD from MIT. And in 2019, she was part of a team of scientists that created the first ever photograph of a black hole.
I remember learning about Katie. She stitched it together from many images.
So there were like 200 scientists that did it, but she made or was instrumental in making one of the algorithms that they used. It was called CHIRP, Continuous High Resolution Image Reconstruction Using Patch Priors. CHIRP.
CHIRP. They got the chirp out of it. That's what was important.
Right? That was important. So they had 8 telescopes around the world that each telescope would take a single ray of light and record it at the exact same time down to the picosecond.
What?
I know.
Picosecond?
I know. That's smaller than a nanosecond, which is pretty dang tiny. So down to the picosecond, they would take this. And then these scientists, using their algorithms, would stitch them together, and the algorithms would fill in all the information that was missing.
Yeah.
So they had 4 teams. Katie was on one of them that took their algorithms and all the information that they had gathered, and then using different assumptions, ran the information through and came up with a photograph. And when those 4 teams came back together after a month of data crunching, there were 3 things that were similar across all of the images. All of them had a ring. The ring was the same size. And the ring was lighter in the south.
Okay.
So that gave them the basis for formulating the first ever photograph of a black hole.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Right? And since then, now Katie is a professor at Caltech. And in March of this year, she released a paper that gives information about how magnetic fields behave around black holes.
Okay. She's really pursuing the black hole thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Good for her. And,
Super cool.
Anything else about Katie?
No, she's amazing. I mean, aside from she's amazing.
Yes, I remember at the time a tremendous celebration of her. It was really an incredible achievement. The first picture of the black hole and coming up with the algorithm to do it. And she was,
right.
Oh, I remember actually there was a fact that, so they used a sneaker net for data transfer.
Yeah. The data was too large. So it went onto hard drives and media that they had, but it was too large to transfer over the internet. So they had to, synchronous.
Yeah, they would mail them, ship them around the world, wherever they needed to go to get the data to her and get crunched.
Because it was massive.
But I'll tell you that story because it's just so damn cool.
Right
Murray Boyd is named for 2 women, Grace Murray Hopper and Evelyn Boyd Granville. Grace Murray Hopper was an educator, and she was in the Navy. She educated people on computer science. She created the first human readable programming language called COBOL. And one of her teaching aids was a length of wire that was the distance light traveled in a nanosecond. And the reason that she had this length of wire, it's probably a few reasons. Two main reasons were given. One is she wanted to explain to people why it took so long for satellite communications to get out and back, and she would do it relative to this piece of wire. And the other thing she wanted to explain to people is why computer systems needed to be so small, and that you couldn't have a room-sized computer anymore. You had to get computers to be smaller if you wanted them to be faster, because there's a physicality. It's not
right.
Like, on the one hand, light seems instantaneous, but it's just not. And there's, in fact, the wire that she was holding was the speed of light in a vacuum, not the speed of electrons in that wire, because when electrons try to move at the speed of light, they bounce around. They can't actually progress at that speed through the wire.
Kind of like a Roomba.
They work, electrons and Roombas, exactly the same.
Same.
Yeah. And we, like the electron cloud, that's like when the Roomba kicks up dust and it's just all,
There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Picoseconds. She at one point started carrying around a pepper shaker because a picosecond is the size of a piece of pepper.
A grain of pepper as compared to
This of 18 inches of wire, I think.
18 inches of wire.
Yeah.
A picosecond compared to a nanosecond.
A thousandth of that wire gets
Wow.
you, a picosecond.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. So I just loved her, teaching and aids, and she was always thinking. And
She was also one of the first commanders in the military, in the Navy.
Women. Yes.
One of the first women.
Yeah.